T.O. said get your popcorn ready, and if you're a Red Raider fan, you need to get your caffeine ready, as the Red Raiders have announced their 2 next game times, including one, well, it might bleed into the next morning. We'll discuss that and Texas Tech football by the numbers, a third of the way through the season. Where does Baron Morton rank in terms of passing yards per game nationally, and where do the Red Raiders rank as offense and a defense within the Big 12? We'll discuss that and much more in today's video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And listen, I'm right there with you guys. When I saw these game times, I was like, damn, I like sleep. You know what I mean? I like sleep. We'll go a little bit more in depth here in just a second. But if you don't mind, if you love the content we're putting out here on the channel, daily videos, 100% free to you guys. All you got to do to let us know that you're enjoying the content is simply like the video, hit that subscribe button, and go interact with the channel if you want, and maybe lead some of your friends this way that are Red Raiders as well. All right, let's jump into this because, as I mentioned, I hope you got your coffee, caffeine of choice in terms of drink with tons of it available, ready at your disposal for the next 2 Saturdays. Now, the one against Cincinnati ain't too bad. It's 7 p.m. Central Time. I think that that's very easy. We manage that. That's normal, cool. We can still go to bed at a somewhat reasonable hour around midnight, right? That's chill. That's chill. I'm cool with that. And by the way, people that are going out to the game in Lubbock, it is a blackout this Saturday against Cincinnati. It's also Parents' Weekend. I know that because the in-laws are headed out there to see the brother-in-law. So that's a cool feature going on this weekend in terms of the game. Remember to wear black if you will be at Jones AT&T Stadium against Cincinnati. Now, the Red Raiders in the Big 12 also announced their matchup in terms of the game time, I guess I should say, for Arizona when Texas Tech will travel out there, not this Saturday, but the weekend after. On October 5th, the Red Raiders will kick off in Tucson. Getting ready because I don't want to get angry. At 10 p.m. Central Time. Now, you'll get to play on Fox, nationally televised game. That's cool. But yes, you heard that correctly. 10 p.m. I am not built for this, people, but you bet your ass we'll have a live stream on here. 10 p.m. is crazy. I used to be a fan of Pac-12 After Dark just because it was a game that I could have on in the background. I don't know how much I'm going to like Big 12 After Dark if my team is playing in it. You know what I mean? But, hey, that's what Texas Tech is going to have to do. You heard that right. 10 p.m. Central Time kickoff on October 5th for Texas Tech at Arizona out in Tucson. Get your damn coffee ready. Maybe Celsius. Hashtag not a sponsor. Red Bull. Hashtag not a sponsor. Whatever. Whatever your drink is of choice with caffeine in it, get a lot of them. All right. Wanted to discuss Texas Tech by the numbers because I found an interesting stat and I posted it over on my Twitter today. Be sure to follow me. You can see it right there on your screen at RCMB323. I usually post at least 1 or 2 interesting stats a week about Texas Tech football after their previous game. The one that I found interesting this week, and it kind of doesn't tell the whole story. It is skewed. I will be the first one to admit that, okay? But I did find it interesting in the sense of Texas Tech has 22 total touchdowns in 4 games this year, okay? Last year, in its entirety, the Red Raiders had 44. So you are halfway there if you're Texas Tech to your total TD total in 2023, and that includes the bowl game, right? Just a third of the way through. So, listen, I've been critical of the offense, and there's been some frustrating times. But that being said, some of these numbers, and again, numbers aren't created equally in college football early on because, listen, it's non-conference play, right? You're playing an unequal schedule in a lot of ways. You know, West Virginia played Penn State. Did Texas Tech play anybody close to Penn State? Obviously not. So it's going to be skewed a little bit, right? But I did find some of these numbers interesting. Dive on in with me right quick. Texas Tech is actually second in the Big 12 in terms of scoring offense, only behind the Knights, the Fighting Gus Malzahns down there in Orlando. And actually the Red Raiders rank 18th nationally in points per game at 41 even. Now, they're second in the Big 12 and 15th nationally are the Red Raiders in total yards per game, just under 490 at 487.5. And the Red Raiders also had the third best passing offense in the Big 12, only behind TCU and, well, Colorado, a team that just doesn't run the football. I don't know if they know that that's part of the game yet. I digress. Anyway, when it comes to rushing, Texas Tech is 8th in the Big 12, so middle of the pack. That's really not all that surprising considering Taj Brooks missed the Washington State game. And truth be told, even if he would have played in that, who knows the difference in that, because Washington State made it very, very clear that they wanted Baron Morton to beat you, and Texas Tech had a turnover issue. So really doesn't matter in that regard in terms of 8th in the Big 12. They'll definitely be climbing up the leaderboard with more Taj Brooks games under their belts in terms of the stats. Now, on the defensive side of the football, it's not good. Let's just call it what it is. It's not good. And I don't know how to feel about it because the last two games, UNT and then Arizona State, I thought Texas Tech played pretty damn good defense. Now, expectations be damned to some. Obviously, they're going to say, oh, well, they let them score some points and they did this, that, and that. Well, I think the only thing you can really, really nitpick Texas Tech on the last two games and really the entire season is that they're not getting sacks. They have 3 total sacks as a team. Okay? Not ideal. Okay? Actually, Isaac Smith is the only Red Raider with a total of 1 sack. Everybody else has a half sack on the Texas Tech roster, but we'll get there in just a second. When it comes to the Red Raiders in terms of points allowed per game, they're dead last, 32.8 going into, well, I guess the next third of the season. Then you are second to last in the passing defense are the Red Raiders, only behind Oklahoma State, and that's because they gave up damn near, I think, 600 total yards to Arkansas, the Fighting Bobby Petrinos up there in Fayetteville. I think they allowed like damn near 500 passing yards. It was nuts. Anyway, moving on. The Red Raiders are 13th in the Big 12 in rushing defense. So there you go. When you look at everything for Texas Tech, they're giving up just about 440 yards of offense per game. That's kind of where it's at right now. In terms of the individual side of things, Baron Morton is actually having a pretty damn good season when you look at it. And Lord knows I've been critical of him and some of the passes that he's had, most notably against Washington State. But I think the past 2 weeks, you can't really knock Baron Morton. He's done everything that the coaching staff has asked him to do and then some. He's taking care of the football, and he's helped Texas Tech get down the field. Now, some of that is play action passing, RPOs, and everything like that, so play calling overall. But he's had a pretty solid season so far, ranking 11th in the country in passing yards with just under 1,200 at 1,175. You've got Josh Kelly, who is the 4th leading wide receiver in the Big 12 with 376 receiving yards so far, Taj, even after missing 1 game, is 7th in the Big 12 in rushing. And as I mentioned just a little earlier, Texas Tech only has 3 total sacks on the entire season. But the interesting part is this, and I would encourage you to go and watch some of these games and really just some of the highlights even, right? Texas Tech may not be getting sacks, but they are doing a good job at containing quarterbacks, well, outside of the Washington State quarterback in week 2. So let's just talk about UNT and Arizona State, building on those. They're doing a really good job of containing quarterbacks and making sure that they feel pressure, right? They may not be getting home quite yet, is the Texas Tech pass rush, but they're doing a solid job of making quarterbacks uncomfortable and making them, well, play their type of game in the sense that the Red Raiders type of game where they want, perfect example, Sam Levitt. You don't want him to run the football. He ran 9 times for 25 yards against the Red Raiders, did the Arizona State quarterback, and you made him a passer. That was a big reason why Texas Tech won. He is a solid passer, probably a little bit below it, but when you add on the fact that he can run and extend plays, that's where he elevates his game and really becomes an issue for opposing defenses. Texas Tech mitigated the running aspect of it and really are now building a little bit of momentum, and they're going to need it against Cincinnati, a team that absolutely smacked the you-know-what out of Houston up in Ohio. And, hey, if you're a Texas Tech fan, you would know this guy right behind me too. It's him and his tight ends, Colleges going at it this week in the Travis Kelce / Patrick Mahomes Bowl out in Lubbock. We'll cover that a little bit more in tomorrow's preview here on the channel. But those are the numbers that have stood out to me so far. There's obviously some others in terms of tackling and everything like that. But overarching in terms of the offense and the defense for the Red Raiders, those are the stats that kind of stood out to me. And, well, hey, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, one more time, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell if you want 100% free. And maybe even better yet, 100% authentic Texas Tech football and men's basketball content. Listen, I'm just telling you the truth each and every time. I might not be right all the time with my opinions. Trust me, Lord knows I've been wrong a time or two on this channel, and people have let me know about it. But if you want real, authentic Texas Tech, just conversation and coverage all year long for your Red Raiders on the gridiron or the hardwood, just do those 3 simple steps. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the Back to 12 squad today.